All right, guys, I'm going to start off today by kind of clarifying something, I guess, with how the f-stop really should work. So the f-stop is, how do you describe it? It's basically how much light gets into the lens, and then your shutter speed basically is how long that light is being exposed to the film, I guess you would say. So that aperture is kind of like the iris of your eye. So like when you close your eyes, right, everything gets a little bit blurry, right? Um, so that is what that effect is simulating. So basically, the smaller you make your f-stop, uh, it's not a one-to-one proportional relationship, but the smaller you make your f-stop, the greater the amount of fuzziness you should have. And then where the lens is relative to your film is how you're going to either move your focal distance, away from or toward the picture plane. So, so essentially, let's go back to picking the focal distance. I'll put it on this corner. And let me go back here to my camera settings. So I did a bunch of explorations at rather high values, but these are somewhat unrealistic. We went down to a very small scale model, and we even went up to, I think it was 25. We even saw some of the fuzziness of the focal distance. But in reality, f-stops go down to really low values, even something like a 1.4, for instance. And let's put this at like 12. So the 1.4, and we might even go lower than that, but I'm going to do a quick render of that, and that should help me at this scale get to something that's a little bit more realistic, especially because we're in a photography studio scale model. So I'm going to let that run for a little bit, and I'm going to get a little crazy with it and also do like a 0.8. Yeah, there it is. So let me let that render for a little bit, and I'm going to probably elevate it and do one that's a little bit higher as well. All right, so let's talk it over real quick. So because we're now in the realm of like physical, reality in a sense, you're going to be able to control it, I think, with a lot more higher degree of predictability. Most f-stops are going to be somewhere in the range of like a 1.4 to, I think, something like a 6 or something like that. Again, I'm not a photographer, but that's what you hear, or what I hear very often. So when I went all the way down to 1, it got this blurry. When I went all the way to, or actually maybe that one was the more blurry one. I can't even really tell. I think this one is less blurry. And then when I went to the 1.4, it was this, so that's not that big of a difference. But even just going up to a 3.2 made a lot of difference, I think, on the front facade of this building. So it's something to keep in mind, that when you go down to the smaller scale, it's a little bit easier to work with and predict, because you're always going to be within like a couple points in f-stop if you're going to use the depth of field feature. I'm not saying that you have to, just saying if you do. Okay? What questions do you have? Excellent. So hopefully you've got all of your rules of thumb that you can start with, and then you can start fine-tuning it from there.